don't ever speak for women. Men would speak for women. Like, don't ever speak for a woman. It's like, yeah, I totally fucking agree. Of course. Yes, it's a human being. Don't ever speak for somebody else. Then I go to a barbecue. Hey, Eric, you want a hot dog? He ate already. He's full. You're full. To go, okay, I don't know how the fuck this is equality, but all right. I hear that shit on the news, social media, equality. I'm like, I'm down for equality. Equality. I'm like, equality. You move in with a woman, it's like, we're equals, right? Yeah. Can I pick out the color of the couch for the living room? Fuck you, that's my house.
Eric D'Alessandro is on the Adam Carolla Show.
Truer words, never spoken. All right, let's see. I want to give a plug. Sorry. Make sure and watch the special I Don't Understand, which is available now on YouTube. All right, we'll do a little news, and Eric will hang out, chime in.
Right. So in Oklahoma, so a couple years ago, there was this women's game, a basketball game, and one team took the knee during the national anthem to show their support for BLM. And this commentator went on this vitriolic racist rant using the N-word. His mic was still on, right?
Oh, hot mic.
This hot mic incident.
A little too hot.
Yeah. I would watch a doc called Hot Mike, and they'd be like, is that about some male stripper died of AIDS? No, it's just a compilation of everyone that another fucking mic was on.
I know. Yeah, Joy Reeves got hit last week.
Oh,
Something
right.
happened to her. So what happened, though, was, so this guy, I have the transcript, I'll read it later. But anyway, so this newspaper, the Oklahoman, wrote about this incident, but they named the wrong guy as the guy who made the comments.
Oh, my God.
So he was wrongly claimed.
That's bad.
And by the way, the guy who did make the comments, he's a former youth pastor who thought his mic was off, and he blamed the racist tirade on diabetes. I don't know, but that's what he was saying. So anyway, so a jury found the newspaper that defamed the wrongly accused guy. They awarded him $5 million in actual damages and a further $20 million in other damages too.
Really?
Yeah, because of the defamation of using the wrong name for this. But he won.
Did the other guy who was defamed work in a like? There's certain jobs where that's a backbreaker. Like if you're an administrator at a college or something.
Yeah,
but if you're a construction worker, you're going to get a raise. You can't claim damages if you work at a logging camp. Yeah. You're going to get moved up to foreman. So I got to find out what this guy did. Because it didn't necessarily hurt him. That's all.
Does it say what he did?
It doesn't say what he did.
Because the accusation, that's all that matters now.
Yeah.
That no one ever looks at the reprint or the correction.
Yeah, well, so the claim was that the newspaper, the Oklahoman, acted with actual malice when they published this story. So
a lot of articles do sound like that now. They're not so much news. It's more opinion based.
Yes.
Yeah, so he accused the paper of defamation and the intentional infliction of emotional distress.
All right, so he's getting paid.
Yeah, so this is and it was a terrible incident, but he got $25 million.
The diabetes is interesting. The diabetes defense. Well, I'll tell you what it could be based on. You guys are too young, but you ever heard of something called the Twinkie defense?
No.
Chris?
No, but I'm planning on using it now. Go ahead.
The guy, the most famous defense has been the Twinkie defense, as they named it, because I think the guy who shot Harvey Milk, first gay mayor of San Francisco, was another city councilman or something who just went into the office, basically city councilman, and just shot him dead, claimed he freaked out on junk food. They called it the Twinkie defense, and got a very short and light sentence.
Yeah. Wow.
Because of the Twinkie defense, which is right next to the diabetes defense, if you think about it.
I mean, what the hell is what's in a Twinkie? I'm sure you can make a case that's probably not.
Yeah. Now, I don't think he was. I think we called it the Twinkie defense. I don't think he was physically OD'd on Twinkies, but
like a nickname for junk food.
He had a nickname, or like a certain cult of young gay prostitute.
Yeah.
But
Hostess should sue for defamation for the.
Hostess should definitely sue for Twinkie defense. is a derisive label for improbable legal defense. Yeah, well, they'll call anything that's a thin legal defense the Twinkie defense, but there's a reason they call it the Twinkie defense.
Harvey Milk was on his assassination. That was the.
It's for a twink
I know.
offense.
You were out of the room. I said all that. But the guy only got like 7 years or something, and then
Insane.
I think killed himself at some point. Well, we can figure it out. But
25 million. That's a pretty good thing to. You ask your friends, would you do this for this much money? Would you take 25 million if there was a leaked tape of you screaming all of this horribly racist stuff?
Oh, and you were accused of it, but didn't do it.
Yeah. But everybody thinks you did it.
Everyone thinks I'm a racist anyway. So didn't you hear the last segment? I'll take the 25, and that'll be a lateral move for me. I'll still have great standing amongst my friends.
Well, this is what he said, that he blamed diabetes. So when they were kneeling, this is his quote: "They're kneeling. F them. I hope Norman gets their ass kicked. F them. I hope they lose. Come on, Midwest City. They're gonna kneel like that. Hell with them. They aren't even saluting the flag. Some of them aren't effing N-words.
Aren't? Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Some
I
of them
see.
aren't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I agree with most of that, but at the very end,
Okay.
he crossed the line.
He did cross the line. Maybe if he was wearing a Tupac shirt, it would.
Could have saved him.
been a little different.
Legends of Rap, gone too soon.
The Kings of Comedy.
Kings of Comedy.
He was wearing a Kings of Comedy shirt.
That's right. I don't think the Cosby shirt's going to get you out.
The Kings of Cosby.
It's the blackest stand-up special ever.
In other news, the mother of a Michigan teenager who killed 4 fellow students and wounded 7 others during a mass shooting at Oxford High School in 2021. Remember, we were talking about this story, like it was a Michigan school shooter, and they were charging the parents. This is the first time.
I always said they should.
Yeah, well, a jury has found that the mom is guilty of involuntary manslaughter today. So,
Well, look, if your dog gets out off the leash or over the fence and bites somebody, that's on you.
Yeah.
And I guess there are instances where you're not culpable, but most of the time it's like the kid had severe depression, and we could see his sketchbook was just a bunch of skulls, and we kept writing Hitler over and over again, and then we bought him his first Glock when he was 14. Like if you're gonna be involved,
Have there been many of where like it was like they were just totally fine and the kid was just an outlier? I feel like that's rare.
Yes, you should know. Well, here's what I would say. Look, it's either nature or it's nurture. Either way, you fuck this kid up.
Yeah.
So
right. So,
but bigger picture, you're on the hook. Like when you hear about, so here's the thing. The politicians that would like this mom to go to jail for not knowing what this kid was up to and leading to these murders, if you said, well, then how about the 13-year-old inner city black kid who's running around at 3 a.m. and firing a gun, they'd go, yeah, not him. And it's like, I would say it equally applies. If you got a 13-year-old and it's 2 a.m. and it's Wednesday and they're running around somewhere in the streets of Chicago, then you, too, will be responsible.
Like, so morning of the shooting, the school calls the parents. It's like, hey, we found some violent drawings on one of his assignments. He's searching online for bullets. He's watching shooting videos in class. Can you please come get him? We're worried about him. And they're like, we're working right now. And if you want to just send him home, he can walk home, but he'll be alone. And the school's like, well, we don't want him to walk home alone. He's going to kill himself. So so that's what happened. And then it gets even deeper.
Yeah, to be fair, if somebody called me about my kids, if I was at work, I'd probably just tell them.
What's the opposite of the Twinkie defense? Because that's what that is.
Is he looking for bullets for a gun, or is he trying to make an old fashioned?
Yes. What kind of bourbon is he?
Yeah, what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it gets even deeper because she texted. There were some text messages shown, and it was to the mom's, a man she was having an affair with, and said that the shooting could have been prevented. So
good.
Yeah. Anyway,
Listen,
she's been charged. The dad still is going to trial soon. But
you start going after the parents, the shit stops. Well, like I said, whether it's the inner city example or whether it's the rural shoot up the school example, I guarantee it would take a huge chunk out of this.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you look, I mean, first off, your kid has a gun. Shouldn't you know? Your kid has a gun. Or half the time you bought the kid the gun.
They got him the
for
gun.
his usually bar mitzvah, but sometimes the goyim engage in this behavior. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, I feel like you have to be more involved in their lives. How could you not know what the hell they're going through?
I know.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
To not know your kid's insane.
So she'll be sentenced soon, and the dad will be charged, or he'll
Good.
be on trial.
Set a precedent.
So Saturday Night Live. Mm-hmm. Their next host. They named their next host. Shane Gillis.
I love it.
Shane Gillis has been set to host this Saturday. A controversial move, as if we all remember. We all certainly do. He was fired after being hired. Shortly after comments resurfaced of him saying things about Asian people or gay people.
Yeah.
And now he's just been killing it doing stand up. And SNL's like, come host.
Good. Nice guy. Good for them. They've seen probably the errors in their ways, and also, I guess, leaning into it now. Like, there's no, I mean, there is bad publicity, but not so much anymore. Like, I think that's the new thing. I don't know why I keep thinking about the NASCAR driver Dick Trickle. Brought it up on the show.
You have been thinking about him.
Dick Trickle.
Dick Trickle's a NASCAR driver. Now, he only ran NASCAR for a few seasons, but he was the number one winningest dirt track oval driver in history. Run 1,000 races, right? He could have gone by Richard Trickle, but he went by Dick Trickle because it got him a lot of attention.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And they'd be like, Keith Olbermann would be on SportsCenter in like 1989 going, NASCAR driver Dick Trickle came in 21st place at the Talladega. It's like he didn't need to report on him. He wanted to say it, you know?
Of course.
And Dick Trickle was like, hey, man, people are saying my name. And he liked it. Also, the thing that was, I just watched a mini doc on him last night. The thing that was crazy about him, picture this in today's world. He liked to smoke. And he liked to smoke when he was in that NASCAR.
Oh, my God.
And he had a cigarette lighter installed in his NASCAR. Like in a world where they're drilling holes and everything to get 3 ounces of weight out of it, he's having an electronic device installed in the console of his
One that produces fire.
Right. And so when they'd be under like a full course caution or something, he'd just pull a cigarette out, push there's no way you're going to light a lighter when you're going 80 miles an hour in a car with no windows, but he got that thing. Then he started wearing a full face helmet. Now the cigarette had to go in at a 45-degree angle, and he would light it like during cautions. I mean, you're still driving during a full course caution. You're just not passing anybody. Yeah.
Jeez.
Commitment to excellence.
What year was this?
This is in the probably 89, 90.
Wow.
And you're also smoking inside of a bomb, essentially. The car's got 40 gallons of 108 octane in it. And he's just like, no, I guarantee, in a NASCAR, all the fuel lines are just, the fuel lines are right next to the lighter.
Oh,
there's no doubt. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, Dick Trickle, you dog.
Yeah.
This is fantastic.
The cigarette, I guess the fuel lines are going from the back of the car, right through the car, right by the cigarette lighter.
Holy shit.
And,
this guy's nuts. Is he still alive?
No, committed suicide.
Oh, well,
Yeah. But not
not in the car.
in the car. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So
The Mayo
he's gonna be
Clinic
missed.
says us talking about smoking is fourth-hand
Oh,
smoke.
yeah.
by
I
the
mean,
way.
what about everyone who was behind Dick Trickle on a parade lap while he was smoking? Is that secondhand smoke or third-hand smoke?
All the above.
Oh, so the guys behind him and the cars behind him were getting secondhand smoke, but the pit crew was getting third-hand because they had to take the net down and
I'd
stuff
ask,
like
they're all
that.
dead. They're all dead.
Oh, they're
now.
all dead.
Yeah, sorry.
All right.
So Chrissy Teigen, she's under a little bit of fire because she, a la Alyssa Milano, she went to Instagram to share a video of her daughter announcing her Girl Scout cookie sale.
Oh, why do I hate Chrissy Teigen and John Legend so much?
Did they dance a little too much at the Grammys during the performances? You know, they cut to them and they're digging every performance.
He's super woke, and then she's super weird and angry.
She's like the woke that's like mean about it.
Yeah, she's
you know?
mean
she has
woke.
gone.
I feel like
she's been a mean girl about it.
Didn't it used to be hippies were like accepting of everything and like, dude, whatever, man.
That's right.
Now hippies are like mean. if you don't use the right eggs, they really get.
Well, they're always so. Nerds and hippies are the angriest people in our society.
Okay.
But nobody really knew it because they were kind of talking about peace and love all the time. And nerds and hippies don't pose a physical threat. So they kind of kept it down
yeah, that's a good
low.
point.
And then some point they became weaponized. But they're always well, first off, anyone who's talking about the same thing like peace and love and brotherly love and ending all war and stuff, they're always the angriest, most fucked up people on the planet. So yes, now we have angry woke people. We have weaponized. We have weaponized woke people.
Can you listen to John
dealing with.
Legend's music? Do you like it?
I recognize he's a talented artist, but he's. I don't know if I don't feel like he's as she is. I think there's a P-whip situation going on here. And although I don't know if you can say P-whip to a black guy because then it conjures imagery from the past. You know, you can't say whip.
Can't say whip.
Yeah. So he's P-paddled. I guess we could say paddle. She's nuts. And speaking of the Grammys, I was looking at it. Everyone is 30 pounds lighter than they were at the last Grammys. I think there's an Ozempic thing going on.
Oh, interesting.
Over there.
There's a
Everybody's
big,
way down in the weight department. Like Oprah is down 40 pounds.
Well, she's publicly doing Ozempic.
Her friend Gail is down a bushel herself.
They're around the beach every day.
Chrissy Teigen, who can, bulk up a little bit, she's down. Like all the skinny ones are skinnier. The ones who are fat are now medium. Like everybody just slid 30 pounds down. And I think that's Ozempic. And they're all wearing like a thong back with a fishnet. Like, they're all like, fuck, I'm skinny. I'm showing my skinny ass off.
My friend just sent me an article about there's like this new boom in Hollywood. All like their faces are like getting sucked in, and like
the cheeks are
really
sucked
thin, unhealthy thin is kind of back. That's like where the trend. This thick girl, which was popular forever, is now like it's going back to like the super skinny look, which is just unhealthy.
Agreed.
I don't. The John Legend and Chrissy Teigen thing, though, like it upsets me because I feel like there's a big thing going back to even like the Shane Gillis thing, where like. This is the side that's, and I'm not the most political person. I'm sure we disagree on stuff, but like, this is the side that preaches the redemption story. Everybody's worthy of redemption. Criminals need lesser jail time. Drug addicts who steal, they need love and compassion. People don't judge people by their worst mistake. But then when it's someone like Shane Gillis, you must judge him by his worst mistake, and that's all he ever is. He is not worthy of redemption. He did something wrong, and we should make him suffer for the rest of his life. It's really just, it's sad, because like I feel like Chrissy Teigen and John Legend are always like love and peace, but like if you are, on the opposite side of the aisle, Chrissy Teigen bullied girls on Twitter, called them like ugly and stuff, and it's like, this is the opposite of what you're preaching. This is hate. This is not love. This is the complete opposite of that. So like even getting too skinny, that Adele got shit for losing weight. Like what the hell was going on? Like this, it's crazy to me how that could be political. That's something I talk about a lot in stand up. I'm like I'm confused why this was political.
Right, like the first part of your special, you're talking about how like the identity politics rule over everything else. Like, oh yeah, you want to do this? Well, that means you're a Republican, or that means you're a liberal.
Yeah,
automatically.
Yeah, and like now body positivity is, I guess, liberal. I guess. And then working on your body is Republican. That seems insane to me. What
anybody who sends an RIP Toby Keith tweet out is going to make a list of non-Biden voters. I'll tell you that. All right, so what was the story with Chrissy Teigen, though?
So she went on Instagram and said, hey, buy my daughter's Girl Scout cookies. And everyone's like, whoa, you have a huge platform and you're going to use it for this. Like, you're hurting all the other girls who are trying to sell who don't have super famous moms. Like, they just think it's an unfair advantage.
Yeah, and also, if you sell enough Girl Scout cookies, you can get like a Schwinn bike or a Knott's Berry Farm windbreaker.
Right.
All shit their kids probably have access to.
Yeah,
like
of
if they
course, yeah.
needed it that badly. Like when I was tasked to do that shit in Little League and stuff, you sold as many candy bars as you could because you needed a fucking bike. Like,
Did you do that? Did you
you
go?
didn't have 5 electric bikes in the garage and one of 6. You
Yeah.
were walking everywhere.
That is kind of funny when rich parents role play middle class people.
Yes,
Because
yes.
that's not, like you just said.
And they do this thing where it's like, I want her to grow up in a normal. Yeah, you
Yeah.
have 12,000 square feet in Bel Air.
yeah. And I want her to learn how to work for something, but
Yeah.
I'm going to put it on my Instagram.
Yeah, her pool has an infinity edge. She's not going to be normal.
Yeah.
Get her above ground pool. If you want her to be normal, then go get a place out in Reseda and get above ground pool and raise her in a normal way.
Right.
That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Did you do that? Did you go sell candy bars?
Okay.
For his basketball team.
I remember doing that.
I couldn't sell things because that would have meant I'd have to like go to someone and like tap them on the shoulder or like, knock on the door and go, can you do this? I would never, I was too fucked up to like walk up to people and go, can I have $1 and sell? I couldn't do it.
What do you mean you're fucked up?
I don't know. There was something wrong with me, and there still is. Like, if I'm talking to someone and they go, well, it was nice to meet you, Alan, I'll go, yeah, it's nice to meet you. I would never say, my name's not Alan. I would never say that. And I told you when I...
But this head in the beer is way too
well, that's... Now we're talking about booze.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And it's off him.
And and then there's... No, I sat there staring at
I
it for
know,
a
no,
long
just
time
teasing
going,
But I know you're kind of a non-confrontational guy.
If someone stepped in front of me in line at the supermarket, like I wouldn't tap them on the shoulder and go, excuse you. Like I wouldn't do that.
You eat it.
I did a job when I was 19. I told you $10 an hour, worked 8 hours. And the guy was like, all right, well, that's $50. And I was like, I just looked at it and went, thanks. And I didn't even
But
say anything.
now you have incentive, right? Like you sell this many candy bars, you get that Schwinn bike.
Yeah, so my problem is I couldn't confront people. I couldn't knock on doors. I couldn't stop people. I couldn't get friends of the family and try to sell them. But I ate everything. I love chocolate, and there was nothing in my house.
Then there was a bill.
So
no.
I would always get into the bars and not sell the bars. And I would kind of do a thing where I'd like break one open and I'd go, I'll just take an inch off the end. And this will just be my one bar.
If you do it to all of them, they won't notice.
Yeah, at some point, it would cause me great anguish and grief. At some point, they'd go, the East Valley Trojans would go, all right, it's been 2 weeks, so you have to return the cases with the bars. And there were 20 bars in the case. And they give you a mini manila envelope that you're supposed to stuff the money in, and each bar was $1. So it's like, all right, well, there's 10 bars left in the case, and there's $10, so that math worked. You sold 10 bars, you know. But I had a serious math problem because there was $2 in the case, and 8 bars were missing
And
because
chocolate on
I
your
ate
face.
because I ate them. Yeah, there's chocolate on my face, and so I would just be like, what if I just pushed a box, you know, and then just kind of push them in with the other boxes, or tell Mr. Gallagher somebody stole the bars, or like how am I? Because if I said to my parents, listen, I'm down $6 worth of bars, they'd be like, we don't have any money, so you're screwed. It was always, I always
Let's just eat all of them.
what I should have factored in back then is Mr. Gallagher and Mr. Steen and Mr. Kramer and all the other coaches when I was 9 definitely sized up my family and should have went like, give the kid a break. He's got to fucking go home with these assholes. Like, look at his mom. Like I should have known that they knew that we were from the wrong side of the tracks, and they probably would have went. He should have just fucking ate the candy bars, and we'll just chip in $2 each. And
That's a pretty. I never realized. Well, that's a pretty heavy thing to give to a young kid, especially like you said, a young kid without money. Here's a bunch of free chocolate that like you have to just stare at and not touch.
Oh, I'd go back to my dad's shit box in North Hollywood, and that box would just sit across the room and be at night would be the
whispering. Yeah.
Wake up! Who's talking? It's a chocolate bar. It's the siren song of the chocolate bar. Don't you want to taste? I can't. I gotta sell them. You can figure that one out. Come on, man.
That's tomorrow's problem.
You have 9 days before you gotta turn. A lot could happen in 9 days.
You're 9 years old. That's a long time from right
Listen,
now.
why don't you pour yourself a glass of milk? Come back and let's just talk about this. It's not right. Mr. Gallagher, get angry. Mr. Gallagher, come on. Your story.
He knows you.
Yeah, I mean that's I couldn't. How would I do with this box? The house was 600 square feet. Where we're going to put this box that I couldn't get to it. So yeah, I didn't have a good experience with the chocolate.
Yeah,
it's all right.
Maybe if Chrissy Teigen was your mom.
Yeah. Oh God. Can you imagine beating off to your mom? Oh God. All right, Eric, let's get you some plugs in here. I Don't Understand is the name of the special. It's very funny. It's available now on YouTube. And dates, live dates, tickets for Eric. And I'll spell it out. Eric, it's DALESSANDRO.com for a very funny experience. All right, another funny comedian. Dusty Slay is going to come in, and we'll talk to him right after this.
And now, Alcoa presents Definitely Not a Jew on the Adam Carolla Show. Dateline, St. Petersburg, Florida. A 33-year-old man was arrested after refusing to pay for the $250 tattoo he received. The tattoo was the Waffle House logo. Definitely not a Jew.
Dusty Slay's hanging with us. Working man, very funny and likable and clean stand-up special available now on Netflix. And if you want tickets to one of his many dates, go to dustyslay.com. And
he's on a 35-city tour.
Yeah, it's a lot of cities. We'll do some news. Dusty will hang out and put his own brand of comedy on these stories.
All right, well, I'll pick a different one then because this one's sad. Let's go. So there's an Italian province that's turning to DNA tests to tackle the scourge of dog poop on the streets.
I heard about this one.
Yeah, so you have to get your dog to register through a DNA registration, and then once they get everybody, they'll have the abandoned poop genetically tested, and the owners will face fines of about $54 to $540 American dollars. I did the math there for you.
Wait, 54
to 540.
It's a pretty big gap.
Yeah, I know. 50 to 500 euros.
So, like a Chihuahua would be 55, and a
I
Great
wonder if
Dane
it's based
would be
on the ounces.
Maybe depending on how loose it is.
Yeah.
You got to factor that in as well.
Right.
Seems like you could just hire someone to clean it up for the amount of money to do this.
Right. This is a pretty big project.
I agree. I hope they do. I hope the idea with stuff like this is it just prevents people from letting their dog do this. Like it just wakes people up. You go to a lot of airports, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I see a lot of dogs in airports now.
Oh, so many.
And I've seen dog poo and dog diarrhea in airports, and I see these dogs on a 20-foot leash, like out in front of the woman. It's clearly not a seeing eye dog. It's clearly it's not a service dog.
You gotta get way ahead to clear the area.
Yeah, I can't get my stick out that far. Get the dog out on the leash.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's just people flying with their pets. At this point. And so I had this idea that we need to randomly select some of these dogs, and just some airport official needs to pull dog out and go like, do you have all the certifications and notes and things for this dog? And they wouldn't. And then we'd say, okay, the dog's coming with us. And then we take the dog out and we take it to where they test the impellers and the propellers on the jet airplanes by firing a frozen chicken at it. And we put the dog in the air cannon and we put it up on all the TV sets, all the CNNs, normally showing CNN at the bar and ever the gift shop is all the dog. And we take the owner who's crying hysterically next to this and we load him into an air cannon and we spool up that Rolls-Royce jet and we just fire it right into it. Pink mist comes out the back, and then we look at everyone else and goes, anyone else want to fucking try to bring their goddamn dog into this airport? Go ahead. Could give it a try. But this could be an issue. I actually felt the same way.
You've said everything I've been thinking, but was afraid to say.
Here's something else you're afraid to say. I was thinking they do this with the, they have the gay games, like the gay Olympics. I don't know if it's a big deal anymore.
I didn't
Never
even
heard
know
of the
they
gay
had
games?
that.
Don't try to pretend you're straight.
I've never been or attended the gay games. What are you talking about?
Well, why would, in a world where everyone has their own thing, why wouldn't there be gay
I'm
games?
not surprised there is. I just haven't. I haven't heard of it.
Never heard of the gay games,
I've heard
Dawson.
of them. They're fairly serious.
What are some
right?
of the events?
Like they're actually actual events.
Man mounting. Pole vault, but not as you know it. Totally different take on the pole vault. No, I don't know. Look up the gay games. I don't know. See what the next one is and whatever.
They're also known as the Spectacular Olympics.
Really? That's funny. No, okay. So they have a thing. They have the 24 hours of lemons car race where they take beaters and they race them for 24 hours.
I know this one.
You know this one?
Yeah.
All right. So they go, each car, you can't pay more than $500 for your car, right? So you go, okay, those are the rules. Well, how do you know I didn't spend $5,000 on my car and just bring it over to the 24 hours of lemons, beat up on all you guys that are following the rules, right?
Yeah, my buddy sold me this McLaren for $450.
That's right.
I still qualify.
That's right. Well, you want to know how they make sure that doesn't happen? They take the nicest car and they hand it to Robosaurus and he crushes it. And now they go, anyone else want to try bringing something good here? So that's what I'm saying with the dog. With the gay games, we don't know if these guys are all gay.
That's true.
There could be some heterosexual ringers in there.
That is true. And how would you find
I'll
out?
tell you how. I line them all up at the ceremony. I just walk the line. At some point, I stop rambling. I pull it out and I go start sucking, bro. And that eliminates the straight guys trying to infiltrate. So we do it with the dog. We do it with the gay games.
Yeah.
I mean, it would work.
I think that, yeah, I mean, maybe you get a particularly hot guy that you're like, nobody could resist, right? To be the,
Ambassador.
yeah.
Yeah.
That way you could rule out being like, well, I just wasn't attracted to them.
Oh, sure.
You know?
You could do that, Dusty. That could be.
I don't know. I'm not, I don't get a lot of that, but who knows, I'm not
Dave's
saying
young.
I'm unattractive. I feel
No.
good about the way I look, but I don't think that I'm the kind of guy that no man could resist.
I don't know. About halfway into that special, maybe I was having a drink. I felt some tingling in my loins.
Well, I've always had better luck with women if they saw me do comedy.
Oh yeah,
I would say that. This is being having
versus
coffee.
the pesticide aisle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pushing the fertilizer.
Exactly. I was,
Even though you
I
could
don't know.
handle that pallet
I know,
like
did you see him
Mario
steer
Andretti.
that pallet
I was
jack?
stronger. I was stronger then.
Oh yeah, pushing pallets.
Yeah. But
Is there a gay game still going on?
Yeah, the last one was in 2023 in Hong Kong and Guadalajara.
I'm gonna say it's still going on. All right.
Future one is set for Valencia in 2026.
Wow.
How do they? It actually is called the Gay Games.
Valencia, Spain, by the way.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
not
California.
North LA County.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there you go. The gay games. So we got to keep it real, and we got to keep these straight guys from infiltrating, and this is how we do it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You don't want to taint the Gay Games.
Yeah. You don't want to tank it. No.
Well, anyway, so if you refuse to DNA profile your dog, you actually get face a fine up to $1,000 euros.
So you got
They
a
really want
dog
you to do this.
registration.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You got
wow.
to do it.
Yeah,
It's an issue
I think
over
the
there.
problem is post-COVID. There's going to be a lot of people going, oh, so I'm going to register my dog with your dog bank, and then some other cooked up shit's going to come out of Wuhan, and then you're going to insist my dog get vaccinated because he's on the DNA bank list. Like, people don't want their shit on these databases anymore
Gonna
because
be off the grid.
yeah, they want everyone wants to get off the grid, so maybe there's that complaint.
All right, so we mentioned in the intro, and you kind of mentioned it last segment too. Toby Keith died of stomach cancer. Died peacefully, surrounded by his family, according to a statement posted on the country singer's website. Quote, he fought his fight with grace and courage. He announced his cancer diagnosis in 2022.
How old was he?
Wow, I didn't think it was
62.
I thought it was much longer ago, but
Oh,
maybe
really?
not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was known for his overt patriotism on post 9/11 songs like "Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue" and boisterous barroom tunes like "I Love This Bar"
Yeah.
Great
and
song.
"Red Solo Cup."
Well, he should be known for "I Want to Talk About Me," because
That's a great song,
That's
too.
a great song because that song's funny and he yodels.
And I should have been a cowboy is
I Should Have Been a Cowboy is the best
Yeah.
song he's ever written.
yeah.
But this one, he's making fun of his girlfriend.
Talk about the
Wow.
troubles you've been having with your brother, about your daddy and your mother and your crazy
So
ex.
It is a shame that the three that you read off, one of them was Red Solo Cup. I mean, it's like he had so many great
I have
songs.
more. Yeah,
Red Solo Cup is a good. It's pretty fun, but
I think there's a generation too
Yeah.
that loves Red Solo Cup.
My mom was in the Toby Keith fan club.
What?
Yeah.
What did he say? Well, wait, who was from Oklahoma?
Toby Keith.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
there's
but
like
didn't
a
you
water
say
tower.
you weren't to Oklahoma? Who would I hear?
I'm
I
going
know
to
Guy
Oklahoma.
got the payoff in the lawsuit with the newspaper in
Oh, yeah,
Oklahoma.
Oh, he's from
Sportscaster.
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Well, he's having a bad day and a
Yeah.
good day.
He's having a good day.
He's out of the news now.
All
As far as
right, but-
Oklahoma goes.
Yeah, I remember driving through a town in Oklahoma, and it's where Toby Keith grew up, and they had this huge water tower that just says like "Proud City of Toby Keith."
I'll tell you who loved Toby Keith was Terry Bradshaw, the quarterback.
Yeah,
Big Toby Keith guy.
I don't know why, but he had like a daytime show called Home Team or something in like 1998 or something. I used to do all those shows.
was he in the Toby Keith fan club? You think?
I don't know. He told me Terry Bradshaw. All I remember is he went and did a show. You know, do Donnie and Marie's show and all these every show, and was hanging. Well, there's Terry Bradshaw and
Oh.
Toby Keith. I just was talking to him like before the show, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm out in Oklahoma, near my friend Toby Keith." And I was like, "I'm from North Hollywood. It's 1999. I don't know."
He
what's
looks
going
so
on."
happy in this picture. I'll tell you that.
But
He does.
Brad loved some. Is Terry Bradshaw going to work it into the Super Bowl kind of roundtable pregame?
Maybe a little lyric,
little
Easter egg
like my
lyric.
old friend Toby Keith used to say about defenses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
I
a
bet
little
so.
little something in there.
Bradshaw on CBS?
I don't know. I wish I knew. He'll be somewhere saying something about the game, and he'll do a little Toby.
We
in
should
there.
do a little tribute. Anyway, speaking of music, so the Vegas Sphere that U2 is playing during March, so they announced their next acts. Next up, what's
Fish.
wrong? It's Fish. Yeah.
Oh,
What's wrong?
just yeah.
That'd be the place to go to watch.
I'm not a
Look,
fish
there-
guy either.
The Dead's going to do
And then-
a stretch of shows there, too. I mean, they're
Yeah,
really
they're
pushing
next.
they're like basically just saying this is for hallucinogenics.
Dead and Company's
Go
next.
for it.
Right.
It's either going to implode or
Yeah. I went to a Fish concert.
I'm not into Fish either. I just got into the Dead recently, and I was like, I never liked them growing up. I always liked country, but I started listening to them recently, and I'm like, oh, this is really good. Maybe I was wrong about Fish too. So I started listening to them, and I was like, nah, I was right about this.
Yeah, you were right about
yeah,
Fish.
I was right about this.
Yeah. I don't know how to square it. So many people are huge fans. I get that sometimes they play the Who's Quadrophenia or something like that. I think there's a fundamental disconnect. Like where you're going, like we're seeing a Fish concert, and you go, "Oh, good. I hope they play another group's album." That's kind of a weird thought to have going in. And the reason the Fish concert I went to wasn't any good is because they didn't play a bunch of other music that's good.
Yeah.
But that's kind of a weird conceit, like when everyone tries to defend the Beastie Boys and they go, on the third album, they played their own instruments. I'm like, oh, that's amazing. You're saying a band played an instrument?
Yeah.
I'll tell that to Blues Traveler. They'll be impressed.
Yeah, Grateful Dead has a real grungy, like a grittiness to it that I feel like Fish doesn't have. It feels like too happy and poppy, and I don't know.
What do you like in the Grateful Dead department?
Well, I listened to this live album, and I'm no expert on them.
Without a Net?
No, this was like
Europe 72.
I don't know. I would have to pull up my Spotify to see, but it's
Without a Net should be a Fish album.
But yeah.
Without a gill net.
It was just so great, and I was like, oh, it just was a live album, and I was like, wow, this is really great. And I don't even know that I know any of the songs off, but I just kept listening to it, and I was like, I was getting high a lot at the time, but I was like, this is great. And I wish I had. I was not prepared to talk about Grateful Dead. But,
I'm sorry I brought it up.
yeah.
So another
Probably Europe 72. Go on.
Yeah. In other news, so the world's first AI brothel just opened in Berlin. It's called a cyber brothel. Mm-hmm. And so what you do is you get a private suite. You book it for a few hours, or you can even go overnight. You get one of those headsets, and you get a sex doll.
Want to talk about registering some DNA?
Yeah.
There's got to be a cleanup crew that's going to want some registration over there.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, what's the benefit to going to that brothel? I guess if you're married, your wife doesn't let you have that kind of stuff at home. I guess
maybe
that would be the benefit to go into another place.
It counts as not cheating. I don't know.
I just feel like if you're going to do that sort of stuff, why not have it at your own place?
It counts as cheating for women because women would rather somebody have a physical encounter like once on the road than a longer term sort of emotional relationship with somebody.
I just saw a study that it was the other way around, that actually like girls prefer the physical relationship, whereas guys women are more affected if it's a physical relationship, and guys are more affected if it's an emotional.
Oh, really?
Attachment. Yeah.
When did that study?
I literally just saw it today.
I don't know. I feel like that feels backwards to me.
It might have been Snopes.
You read that on Snopes? Did the fact checker check that? Well, for anecdotally and historically, if you said to a woman, would you rather your husband go out on the road, some business, and have an encounter, a one-time encounter, physical encounter with another woman, or be back at home texting and having kind of a long-term sort of emotional, psychological sort of relationship with somebody, which would you prefer? And I thought the answer was that they prefer the one-time physical than the longer-term emotional relationship. And then for guys, it was kind of the opposite.
Yeah.
But
that makes sense.
But you just read this article.
Yeah.
I think sometimes they put out these studies just they give you the opposite information.
No, they do that.
Yeah,
That's
studies.
They're just like
Rolling Stone puts Tiny Tim in the top 100 guitarists of the world. And you go, Tiny fucking Tim, what are we talking about? And now next thing you know, everyone's yelling about it. And Rolling
Actually,
Stone.
Joni Mitchell played the Grammys.
Right. Rolling Stone is laughing because we got Joni Mitchell ahead of Pete Townsend in the guitar. I think they throw stuff out to get us to bite.
Yeah, all those lists, they're meant to be controversial, so we get upset about it.
But maybe that's what you read too, because that doesn't exist.
Yeah, I can't say that my wife would prefer either, and I don't think I would either. I think my wife would ruin my life over either of those. But
she's got to choose one, Dusty.
But
I think if I were to choose, I think I would rather. I don't know. It feels like I would rather it be the texting thing than a physical thing with my wife.
But that's how guys are wired.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So you go to the brothel and put the goggles on?
Put the goggles on. You could sext with these AI bots. You could, it's all AI. So they don't have actual sex workers.
I guess from the standpoint, what I'm thinking is like if you're going to be doing that, why even go to a place? You know, it's like be more sanitary if you just knew it was your own thing. If it's not going to be a real person, why do you have to go to a spot?
I agree. And then how's tipping work?
Yeah.
Because you got to tip.
Yeah. Somebody's getting a tip.
Well, listen, I will say this. You can do it in your own home, but your wife is going to ask why you're installing a deadbolt in the bedroom door. And that may be what we call a tell. When you start putting up the foam acoustic padding to catch the sound and putting a door sweep on the bedroom door and putting a deadbolt in there, from the hardware aisle.
Yes.
If you got to get out a 2 3/8 hole saw and then you go get an 1 1/4 paddle bit, they know. And you got to do the strike blade as well. They'll know something's afoot in that room.
Yeah, and if you say it's just a podcast, she's going to want to hear it eventually.
That's right.
Well, let's see what you've been doing. Let's see what you've produced.
Yeah, I'm just doing a podcast with my dick out, All the greats. All right.
So Tucker Carlson is going to Moscow. He's there now, actually, I think, to interview Putin. A lot of people freaked out about this.
Everyone freaks out every time he does something because all he does is there used to be rules, and the rules were here's how we do it. Here's the story. What is the story? Well, the story could be COVID, or the story could be Ukraine, or the story could be Hunter Biden's laptop. Good. Here's what everyone says about the story, and it's all going to be the same thing. And then he goes, and there's, Joe Rogan and RFK Jr. and guys like that. They go, nah, we're going to tell a different story. And then everyone freaks out and goes, what are you guys talking about? Don't listen to this guy. They created guys like Tucker Carlson, and he's going to go off and make $1 gajillion. I think I'll see him when I go to West Palm, maybe do a show somewhere in March. I think I got that on the calendar. But he's going to upset the establishment is what he's going to do.
If he hasn't already, yeah.
And they don't like it. They want you to get your news from Anderson Cooper, who is the establishment, who either lies or goes along with everything.
He's also being a lot of places are saying that he is an outspoken defender of Putin, so they don't they're wondering why he gets to, I mean, obviously they know why he gets to interview him, but should he be the one?
Well, okay, so here's the thing. Outspoken defenders are the only people that get to interview people. Now, Gavin Newsom came in here 10 years ago, right?
I remember.
Have you ever seen Gavin Newsom in here before?
No.
After?
He's not come back.
All right, because I'm not an outspoken defender of Gavin Newsom. When's the last time you heard Kamala Harris sit down and get asked a real question by a real journalist or Joe Biden or anybody from either side? They won't agree to interviews if you've been slinging the shit about them for numbers of years. You won't, but Tucker,
I don't want to talk to someone that's been doing that. You know what I mean? Like if I were like, they were like, Adam Carolla hates you. Do you want to go on the show? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm scared to do it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
People don't want to go. Now, people in the past would go into unfriendly environments and sit down. That used to be a thing, and they did it all the time. They do not do that anymore. They only go to friendly environments and sit down. But then you have to go, does Tucker Carlson have integrity? Will he push back and will he ask questions? And I think the answer is yes. Mm-hmm. So that's number one. Number two, without trying to go full tinfoil hat, because I always say I'm tinfoil yarmulke, I'm not full hat, but it's starting to grow a little bit on there. All right.
I'm maybe tinfoil helmet. I'm like tinfoil cowboy hat.
What do we really know about Vladimir Putin? What do we really know?
It's all speculation.
All right. So we know, Biden calls it the gas goes up $4 a gallon. That's Putin's price hike, right? Then remember once upon a time where all Biden was going to do was sanction all the oligarchs? We're just going to take all their bank accounts, and this war is going to end in a week because we're going to take all the money out of Russia, and we're going to take all their yachts. Remember that one?
Right.
What happened to that one? And then what happened to the oligarch he didn't sanction? Oh, that guy had a relationship with Hunter Biden. Oh. And what did CNN get right about COVID? And what about the 51 experts in security that said Hunter Biden's laptop had all the earmarks of Russian collusion? And what about Hillary Clinton with the Steele dossier and Russia? Like, what do we really honestly know about Putin, and who's been telling us what to know about Putin, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not defending Putin, and I assume he's a bad guy, but we're only getting the information from the people who've been lying about everything, including Russian collusion, for years now. So should we take Hillary Clinton's word for who Putin is?
No.
That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
So,
What if Russia is a real party? I mean, it could be a real party over there.
look
you know
at
what
the
I mean?
Kremlin. It looks like a Knott's Berry farm.
Yeah, and then they're like, you don't want to go to Russia. It's bad over there. And we're like missing out this whole time.
Yeah.
I even think that about North Korea sometimes, right? You only hear bad things about North Korea, but we don't know what's going on over there.
The Kremlin looks like Candy Cane Lane.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks awesome.
It could be gumdrops and cotton candy.
That could be the real Willy Wonka over there. I mean,
You see the pictures?
yeah.
Look at the Pentagon's, this big block, sitting in the middle of nowhere. That's not hospitable.
Yeah, it
Kremlin's
looks
edible.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Kremlin looks edible.
Yeah, yeah.
They're probably playing that Small World song from Disney.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's like we only know what we're being told about Russia. We don't. It's not like we're all taking vacations over there.
Well, you have this. You have the
least I'm
more and more. Maybe I just was at a gathering with Bobby Kennedy Jr., but talk about the military-industrial complex. Like, we need to be at war all the time, right? And then you take some part of a region that we just have no idea. By the way, Ukraine is totally corrupt. Have been corrupt. And remember, Joe Biden got their DA fired over there for being corrupt. So, and they've grafted in corruption, right? And then Russia does what Russia does, and then we all start wearing Ukraine pins at the Golden Globes and the Oscars, and we start talking about defending democracy. Ukraine is not, they're up to a lot of shitty stuff in terms of they're not a great example of a democracy. And then they blow up the Nord Stream pipeline. Remember the pipeline from Germany? And that gets blown up. And then they were like, Russia blew it up. And Tucker Carlson's like, why would Russia blow up their own? Turns out not so much anymore. By the way, any follow-up to who blew up the Nord Stream pipeline? It was a big story.
I forgot about it.
It was a big story when Russia did it. But maybe Russia didn't do it. Now it looks like Russia didn't do it. But where's the follow-up on CNN about who blew up the pipeline? You guys can't keep doing this and expect regular people to have clear thoughts about Ukraine or Putin or Russia or Hunter Biden's laptop. You can't, COVID, you can't, Wuhan lab. You can't keep gaslighting everybody and then expect us to just hop in line when the next story comes down the pike.
Now, was there even a pipeline?
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like, on that same sense as, I don't know. I mean, as far as what information I get.
I haven't seen it.
They just say they blew it up, and I'm like, oh, that's bad, but was it even there?
Dawson can look, but they blew it up. Everyone accused Russia of blowing it up. Then Tucker Carlson said, why would Russia blow up their own pipeline? And then everyone called him a Putin sympathizer, which is all part of the game, right? And a Putin apologist and a Putin puppet. It's too bad.
Here's what Russia needs to do for PR.
And then I think it was about 2 years later, it kind of slipped out that maybe the U.S. and the U.K. actually did the blowing up or some other entity. But again, Rachel Maddow's not going to tell us about that.
No.
She told us the original part.
I saw that.
Not the other part. Yeah. Where's their story, Dawson? A couple of months ago.
There was a story a couple of months ago that it was legitimately tied to. I thought it was tied to Ukraine in some way, but Russia was exonerated. Of course, Wikipedia
right? But they
is
told
not gonna
us
have
the
that.
Russians hacked
Yes, they
our.
did.
Hold on. They told us they hacked our election.
Yes.
They told us that Putin did cast all the votes, and then they told us they blew up the Nord Stream. And they tell us a lot of stuff about Russia.
It caused all this cultural chaos within the country.
Forever with Russia. I mean, even like way back to Rocky IV. I mean, it's always
the Russians.
They're always the bad guy.
They're never the good
And maybe
guys.
they are. I don't know.
But listen, if you're a multi-cajillion dollar industry like the military-industrial complex, and then you just go, listen, we just have to talk about Russia every few months, and we'll have all the money we need for the rest of our lives for everything. And by the way, the money we send to Ukraine, they don't have accounting for it. They don't know how much. And then we're all sitting there going, we're not going to pass this border bill unless we have enough for Ukraine. You know what I mean? It's like when all of a sudden we're all huge cheerleaders for Ukraine. And Hunter Biden's doing business in Ukraine on the Burisma Energy Board. Does this feels fishy? That's all. That's all I'm saying. So,
guys.
I would like Tucker Carlson to go sit down with Putin, and then we'll decide.
Yeah.
How the answers went. But
I'm curious to see.
Let's talk to the guy, see what he's up to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that story, Dawson? It was printed. Was out in a publication. Well, that's the other thing too. Is Nord Stream pipeline gets blown up by the Russians. You can find out 5,000 of those stories, and then you look for one that says it wasn't blown up by the Russians. That's not on the
Here's
internet.
what Russia needs to do. They need to host the gay games.
Oh.
They need to have the gay games in Russia.
That's right.
All will be forgiven.
You know, when in Putin interview, it's like he always speaks Russian and then they translate. And I watch anything like that and I go, is he really saying that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, we know.
I have no idea.
I feel that way with sign language.
Yeah.
I don't know what that person's up to.
Yeah.
I feel like I could have done that. Yeah.
All right. Oh, found something?
Yeah, I got a story here that says senior Ukrainian official coordinated Nord Stream pipeline attack. The report alleges that Roman Chervinsky and a 6-person team orchestrated the explosion. It's the coordinator of the explosions that ruptured Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2 natural gas pipeline, the Washington Post reported, citing Ukrainian officials and European sources, and in conjunction with German periodical, that's their newspaper, was basically Roman Chervinsky, former commander of one of the Ukrainian Special Forces units, was the coordinator of the Nord Stream operation and managed a 6-person team that carried out the devastating multi-billion-dollar infrastructure attack in September 2022, according to the report.
All right. So maybe that's true. Maybe the Russian story's true, but there's no reporting and there's no follow-up on an event that was massive.
It was all over the news when
Putin
Russia did it.
When Russia did it. So I'm just saying, people that want Tucker to shut up or me not to watch the interview or Dusty not to watch the interview, sorry, you used up all your goodwill by lying for the last 5 years. So that's where we're at. Now, it doesn't mean it's true or untrue or someone's good or someone's bad. It just means you people have lost your vote to tell me where I can get my information because you guys have been lying about various things for years now. And no corrections, by the way. There's no corrections. It's
We
just
moved on.
Putin blew up his own pipeline, and we're turning the page. All right. Dusty, let me give some info out on you. Working Man, very funny. Stand up on Netflix. DustySlay.com for live dates. All over the place.
And a whole new hour, too. So if you watch the special and then want to come see me live, it's a whole new hour, all very funny.
Yeah.
The new stuff is very funny.
It has to be. It came from your head.
That's true. I'm running out of jobs, though. I may have to get some new jobs.
We're heading to that Home Depot.
Keep this working.
You're going to commandeer a pallet jack. I'm going to get on it like it's Laverne and Shirley. And you're going to push me all the way through the Home Depot.
Yeah, you could even ride the fun thing. Pallet jack is almost like a little skateboard. You can run in the middle and then jump on the sides and then steer yourself. It's a lot of fun. They don't like you doing that in there. But.
It's the poor man's Roman ride. The Roman ride from SeaWorld was a guy stood on top of 2 dolphins for like 3 seconds with his legs spread.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you do with the pallet jack. The poor man's Roman ride.
I like that.
I'll call it the Roman ride.
Why not?
And I trust you behind the wheel.
Yeah, I can do it. I mean, pallet jacks are what I do.
Yeah.
That's why you're going to be piloting this thing.
I'm even pretty good with like a hand truck. I can really work those too, but a pallet jack is mine.
How are you with a refrigerator dolly?
I don't know. I never really did those. I know what you mean, but I never really moved refrigerators.
How about a furniture dolly?
I think that's about the same as a hand truck, right? Yeah, I think I can work that.
Okay, we'll hit them all.
Yeah.
All right, Dusty. It's walking distance, so we can.
All right.
We'll get over there together.
Let's work it.
All right. Go to amcroll.com for all my live shows coming up at Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club in Vegas, February 22nd. And you can check out Eric's stand-up special as well. I don't understand. Until next time, it's Adam for Eric and Dusty and Chris saying mahalo.